The characteristics of mathematically gifted students. They are able to understand and apply mathematical concepts quickly and accurately. They have a high ability to identify patterns and think abstractly. Able to see relationships among topics, concepts, and ideas without the intervention of formal education. They have an intuitive understanding and unusual curiosity of mathematical function and processes. They may skip over mathematical steps and sometimes are unable to explain how they arrived at the correct answer to a problem. They often demonstrate an uneven pattern of mathematical understanding and development. Some are much stronger in concept development than they are in computation. Many are able to transfer mathematical concepts to unfamiliar situations. They are persistent in solving challenging problems and often want to know more about the hows and whys of mathematical ideas than the computational how-to processes. They often prefer to learn all they can about a particular mathematical idea before leaving it for new concepts. They often have high verbal ability. They're flexible and creative in their strategies to problems and enjoy games involving numbers. Many have established unique theories of number sense, sequences and patterns, problem solving, and computational strategies by the time they receive formal instruction. Not every mathematically gifted student will display all of these characteristics, or they may emerge at different times depending on the student's development.
There are several milestones that we can see through mathematically gifted students as they grow throughout their life. One of the first symptoms which parents notice is their child's unusual alertness. As early as 1 month, the child may follow moving objects with her eyes. She may smile or make certain sounds other than crying. At 2 months, she may search for sounds with her eyes, begin to lift her head and chest, move vigorously, anticipate feedings upon seeing a nipple, begin cooing and chuckling. Motor development is often advanced in gifted children. In a study conducted by Cox in 1977, 3 children were reported to have begun to walk at 6 months of age, a period at which most children are just learning how to sit up. Over 83% of this sample walked before their first birthday, the typical age at which other babies stand or walk only with support. Another interesting finding in Cox's study is that many of the children were ambidextrous for some period of time. The clear sign of accelerated development is the area of language. Gifted children tend to speak earlier, use more complex sentence structure, develop a larger vocabulary, show an early interest in books and written works, and express themselves better than other children.
Mathematically gifted students have a supportive family. The parents tend to set high standards and goals. They support their children to challenge to strive for increasingly higher levels of achievement and to evaluate the success of their performances. Parents closely notice the way they conduct themselves, and the students do as well. And they garner many parental values. In addition, parents always can teach children industriousness and perseverance by working hard themselves. Peers. The mathematically gifted need competitive and supportive peer groups. They need peers to promote the intrinsic value of school. Their peers have an influential effect on attitudes and concepts. Gifted students often tend to spend their time alone or with parents more than with non-talented children. They often look for peers of similar ability to chase their talents and developments. They flourish when encircled by peers that challenge, support, and legitimize their talents. Society. Mathematically gifted students need socialization. They need outlets where they can share discoveries with others. They need a social context that allows them to be individuals and their abilities to flourish. School and teachers. Schools should allow students to delve much deeper into mathematical topics, provide a more linear approach to math instead of a spiral curricula, highlight student participation in evaluations of success and decision-making processes. Schools and teachers should encourage intrinsic motivation and autonomy and provide strong classroom environments for the mathematically gifted. There should be a belief system and school culture that supports development of the individual student's giftedness. Schools should provide challenge to create questions, to explore, and to develop mathematics that is new to the gifted student. Gifted students need sport clubs, playful activities with guidance, and should be clustered with the students of like interest and readiness levels.
Stereotypes or discriminations of mathematically gifted students. Stereotype is defined as a conventional, formulaic, and oversimplified conception, opinion, or image of something or someone. Discrimination is treatment or consideration based on class or category rather than individual merit. Partiality or prejudice, according to the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language. Both stereotypes and discrimination can be found in areas of mathematically gifted individuals. The first stereotype that we found to be present with this population of gifted students is done by a child's own parents. This occurs when parents, without the direct knowledge that they are doing so, stereotype their child in the area of mathematics based on gender. This occurs due to previously placed stereotypes that they probably grew up hearing about, boys being smarter or more capable in mathematics. They also have been bombarded with the idea that men are more successful in jobs that are centered around mathematics. Without meaning to, parents do sometimes place different expectations on their children due to these gender stereotypes. That being said, there is research indicating that girls actually perform better in classroom situations and with overall math grades than boys do. However, boys perform better on math standardized tests. The stereotype that a certain race of people may be more mathematically gifted than other races or ethnicities also exists. One article discussed that people of Asian descent excel in mathematics simply because they are Asian. These broad stereotypes of mathematically gifted are misrepresentations that exist with mathematically gifted students.
According to some researchers, culture plays a part in mathematic ability. Mathematically gifted females are more recognized in countries with the least inequality between genders. This does not mean that there are less mathematically gifted in these countries, but the females who are gifted in math do not receive the same resources to use or prove their giftedness in mathematics. Almost half of students in the United States who are identified as mathematically gifted live in households in the upper 25% of income levels. Research has shown that school, community, and parent interactions are highly involved with mathematically gifted students. A study conducted in the Netherlands examined mathematically gifted students and non-gifted students. The results clearly show that the gifted students are more socially competent than the non-gifted, and that acceleration seems to be the most appropriate means for the gifted students. A study in Germany also measured differences in achievement, interest, academic self-concept, and motivation in mathematics. The results showed very compelling differences in the gifted population than in the average ability population in those areas of mathematics. Mathematically gifted students have higher self-efficacy and lower math anxiety than do regular education students. Some other research also shows increased self-efficacy and a higher value for learning math than non-gifted peers. There is a clear distinction between mathematically gifted students and non-gifted students with metacognition. Metacognition is how one thinks about his or her own ways of remembering, knowing, and understanding. Evidence supports that mathematically gifted children show outstanding metacognitive abilities. In problem solving, these students have more trouble than non-gifted students. This is because they see many possible answers to one problem and they struggle choosing just one.
Mathematically gifted children can be neglected or overlooked by parents and the larger community. Misunderstandings regarding the nature of giftedness and talent abound, and busy teachers, administrators, and parents are sometimes at a loss to know how to nurture and challenge children whose abilities belie their age and grade level placement. It can be difficult to serve and challenge a mathematically gifted child. Oftentimes, teachers and school districts find it easy to differentiate in writing or reading by giving students choice, but this option isn't always readily available in math. All too often, the regular curriculum is insufficient in depth, breadth, and pace to meet the needs of the gifted child. The advent of the CRCT and other standardized tests has increased the use of basic skills, instruction, and drill in an attempt to assure that all students will be successful on these tests. But a great deal of research supports the conclusion that gifted students need more than just rote memorization of math skills. Some things that are challenges for school districts are providing content with greater depth and higher levels of complexity, finding ways to promote the discovery approach that encourages students to explore concepts, giving students the ability to focus on solving complex, open-ended problems, and providing opportunities for interdisciplinary connections. Not only do the community districts have challenges, teachers face many challenges as well in finding ways to meet the needs of mathematically gifted students. According to Johnson and Reiser in 1996, there are a few strategies for the teachers to use. One is posing open-ended questions that require a higher level of thinking. 2, modeling thinking strategies such as decision-making and evaluation. 3, accepting ideas and suggestions from students and expanding upon them. 4, facilitating original and independent problems and solutions. 5, helping students identify rules, principles, and relationships. And 6, taking time to explain the nature of errors. The differentiation of instruction is also important. Bicknell states that once a sufficient foundation of information is gathered, an IEP can be established for each mathematically gifted student. It then becomes the responsibility of classroom teachers to implement the IEP. The plan may include enrichment experiences, differentiation of instruction, including pre-testing and compacting of the curriculum, and flexible grouping based on the topic. Also an option is to skip grades in math, mentoring, and an increased use of technology. The decision regarding which level of intervention is necessary should be based upon the evaluation. Highly gifted students may require more intense modifications, such as grade skipping in mathematics. Rather than choosing one method over the other, research indicates that a combination of these approaches makes for a stronger program for divergent math thinkers. Pre-testing and compacting the curriculum allow for a diagnostic approach for planning the teacher's instruction and allows educators to have a more accurate account of skills and concepts students have mastered and those that they still need to learn.